What's going on, it's the RapNerd, and I just got back from watching the last voyage of the Demeter, and it's about a crew who gets contracted to transport some cargo to London, but they don't know what it is, and they see like a dragon type emblem on a box, but they just think nothing of it. And the catch is they do it because there's a bonus that's promised, so they're all like, yeah, let's do it. And as you know, when they get on the ship, Dracula gets out and starts going ham. I was late to the party. It just released over the weekend, didn't have time to run and get it, so I figured I'd take some time off to see it today. And it was okay. It was solid, you know. And I say that because I don't think that it was great, and I don't think that it was terrible either. It was literally mid-ground. And mainly it's just because it's the format of this movie we've seen done a million times over. A bunch of people in a boat, a bunch of people on a ship, a bunch of people in a specific place, and then there's this thing inside that is coming after them. Same tropes, same type of, you know, build of scares, like stuff happens at night only and it's days. And granted, I get it that it's a vampire story, so you really can't do much in the daylight, but to me, this movie was just average, literally. Like, the crazy part about it is I think it's shot extremely well. I think the cinematography is done good. I think all of the actors involved do a great job with their performances. I think the soundtrack is pretty cool. All of that works, but again, it's just one of those, it's just so expected, and I think that's one reason why I never was really that big on checking this movie out, because just based off of the trailer, I could tell it was going to be exactly what it ended up being. If you've seen the trailer, it's exactly that. There are no pivots outside of what you may think it is. And granted, I do know that it's based on a chapter in a book. So it probably could have told that story or that chapter well, visually. You know, I haven't read the story, so I don't want to say if it is or not. But it's a possibility that it did exactly what that chapter did. But if that's the case, I feel like this was a movie that didn't need to be made because we've seen it a million times. And I'm not trying to shit on the director, because really, I didn't know that the director was making this movie until literally like last week. I don't want to butcher his name, but I think it's Andre. Don't want to butcher that, so I'm not going to say that. But he directed Troll Hunter, which I thought was good. He directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I loved, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I also found to be a really great movie. So his name attached to this made me go in like, yes, I can't wait. And technically, everything that he did worked. Like, it's weird. It's a weird place to sit in with this film, right? Because I see some of the same things that he did in these other films, and there are some great moments, especially with Dracula, that really work here. But overall, this isn't something that I would run and tell somebody about, because I feel like this is something that everyone has seen one way or another, but I still did find some elements of it entertaining. I think it's really an emotion-driven story. There are some things that happen in here that I did not expect to happen. I really like the scary aspects that were done from a direction standpoint. And again, there are some really gnarly kills, so it does not hold back on the horror aspects at all. Like, I honestly would watch this again, but it's, like I said, it's nothing to scream on top of the hill about, honestly, because if you've seen Alien, if you've seen any other film like this, you've seen it all. And personally, there was a movie that released not too long ago, I think it was 2019 as a matter of fact, called Blood Vessel, and it's the same exact story, except the only difference is that movie takes place during like World War II, I believe, and maybe that's another reason why my eyes are tainted with the film. And I tried to compare, you know, apples and oranges and all of that. You know, I don't want to play that game, but when I've seen so many stories like this where it's somebody trapped on a ship, I can't help but think about other films in that manner. And I feel like as a director or writer, if you're going into a genre that's been heavily done before, you kind of want to think about that to see, like, how can I separate myself from these films, because the story has been done, especially something like Dracula. So that's really the big thing. It was really average, extremely average. Like, it almost reminded me of Post-Exorcist, which is a film that I thought was extremely average. You know, it's enjoyable and you can get some entertainment out of it, but it doesn't do anything to differentiate itself from the stories that are very, very similar like this. It's literally the exact same place that I put The Post-Exorcist. Would watch it again, but it's nothing to scream about. And Dracula's design, I think the design was really, really good. I found his look to be creepy as hell. But one thing that horror tends to do that kind of messes things up nowadays in a lot of places is the reliance on CGI. I understand that certain sequences you're gonna need CGI, like showing Dracula fly around in the mist. You're gonna need CGI for that. You're not gonna have somebody just flying around. I mean, you could, but why risk it, I guess, when you can use CGI? If they would have just used it for that, I would have been fine with it, but they use it quite a bit. I don't know if they just made a complete CGI character or they had the actor dress up in the costume and then they covered that with CGI. Because there are some points when you can tell it's a real suit doing things, but with that being said, it's like you really can tell when the CGI double is there because they go back and forth, and I was just like, we should have just kept it practical. Practical is better. And if they would have went fully practical, I think this movie definitely would have been enhanced some, but even then it couldn't save how, you know, average the film ended up being. So that's all I can say. Again, I'm don't hate it, didn't love it, thought it was cool, but very average at best. I will say that. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think about it. Leave it in the comments. About this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.